Hello. Welcome. New ban list, new deck, new format. It's going to be amazing. Sky Striker trains. Some of you have probably already seen some of the replays. I know a lot of you have been asking for the profile. Engage back to 1. All we needed to revamp the deck and blow some fresh life into it. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. It is incredibly fun. This is hands down my favorite variant to play of the deck as of now. I've been playing trains for a good amount of time now, so I'd like to think my opinion's worth a little bit more than jack shit, but it's really not. But ultimately, the deck is incredibly fun to play. Adds a lot of new lines of play to the deck in terms of, especially if you haven't played Sky Striker trains before, I would definitely recommend testing out this build. But yeah, we'll get into it. 2 Ray. Sorry, I'm going to check my lighting just to see where the glare's at. Alright, no, that's not bad at all. Alright, so 2 Ray. Standard, I guess, Sky Striker starter card. With Hornet Drones being at 1, that is essentially your 3rd copy. And then with Rhoda being your 4th. So I think 2 is pretty good to set out. I wouldn't play 1. You might be able to test 3 depending on how much of a Sky Striker variant you want to actually go towards. But I think 2 works pretty well. We are playing 2 Pegasus, 2 Derek Crane, and then actually I'm going to put these up taller so I know that they're on screen. 2 Pegasus, 2 Derek Crane, Jesus Christ, and 2 Bullet. Obviously chopping off 1 of each from your normal train package, but these ratios tend to work really well. Obviously Derek Crane still being used as your board breaking. Bullet's recycling effect becomes so pertinent in this deck from what I'm seeing. Obviously having access to him early on is just crucial in terms of just making sure that, I mean, Sky Strikers is naturally more of a grindy deck, so adding the train aspect to it definitely gives it a sweet OTK potential, but I don't know, just resource management is huge. I mean, as it is with most decks, especially with this one. This deck, I would dare say, has a little bit higher of a skill ceiling just because of the interactions between the Sky Striker cards and the train cards, and knowing how to, play around your Sky Striker cards while your train cards are in your main monster zone. So with that, it's not just as unga bunga as a lot of train variants are, but it is still incredibly fun. I'm playing 1 Night Express Knight, still needed, a good play starter. Being able to search them out with revolving switch yard just to complete your hand if you have the potential to OTK, but yeah, I would still play them at 1. This is some spice that I am trying out right now, but we are playing 1 Exodius, the ultimate Forbidden Lord. Rationale behind this is you can only special summon him by shuffling all monsters from your graveyard into your hand. I'm sorry, from your graveyard back into the deck. So yes, it can be kind of a pain in the ass if you have, Bullet, Derek Crane resources that you're trying to manage, but because of Anger Knuckle being able to bring stuff out of the graveyard, you can definitely manipulate your graveyard to what you want it to be before you drop this. Also, being able to put back all the Sky Striker monsters back and just completely revamp that engine, pretty crispy. It is just a one-of, so you're not going to see it every game, but in terms of being a free level 10 extender, that's always nice. And graveyard manipulation, resource management is always insane as well. So it's kind of like a Pot of Avarice, no draw effect, but in terms of, Tunneler for Dozer control was kind of like their Pot of Avarice effect, where it allowed you to, shuffle everything back in. This kind of does the same thing, and obviously just having that reset button is super nice, just knowing that, hey, if I needed to revamp my entire deck and go the grind distance, I can. So, 1 Exodius. Again, trying it out, but in terms of, we're all only, especially when you see the extra deck, you're only playing 1 lead, so shit like that's awesome, because obviously you can put it back with Bullet, but knowing that you have an option to shuffle all of your resources back, especially extra deck monsters, it is kind of nice. So 1 Exodius as well. And then we are main decking 1 Jizukiru, the Star Destroying Kaiju. 2 more on the side, but 1 main for now. And then 1 Toon Cyber Dragon. Hand traps, 3 Droll Unlock, and 3 Ash. Artifact Lancia is incredibly good right now as well. I'm playing Droll just because, there's Invoked. What's the Tri Brigade is insane. I don't really think Dragon Links. I don't know. Regardless, Droll's just the hand trap I'm going with right now. If Lancia proves to be more of a blowout, by all means, I'll transfer over to Lancia. But right now, 3 Ash, 3 Droll is where I'm sitting at currently. Sky Strikers being revamped into the deck, into the format. Droll also can be a huge hindrance there. Droll hits a lot. This deck also can get hit by Droll pretty hard in terms of depending on how your turn 1 hand looks. Into the spells, 3 Urgent Schedule. Still standard. We are blinding second with this deck forever and always, or at least trying to. This is just the best way to obviously get access to 2 monsters that you don't already have, and throwing spells in the grave. Toon Table of Contents. Shit. This is honestly my favorite part about playing this deck. I love Toon monsters in general. The whole Toon archetype. I mean, it sucks, but I have it. I've tried playing it. But what this allows you to do, you open up any Toon Table of Contents. You can immediately search for the other 2. So now your graveyard is loaded with 3 spell cards, therefore making all of your Sky Striker cards immediately live. Toon Cyber Dragon, he's a machine. He's also great discard fodder, but he can tag out into Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, which happens to be a level 10 machine. But if your opponent has something in the extra monster zone, Apollosa is incredibly hot right now. It's just a super easy out, or anything in that regard. Obviously, you don't have to summon him because he can turn off a lot of your other cards, but he is there for that potential and that option. Otherwise, just to discard him with Revolving Switchyard or Anger Knuckle, what have you. But again, it's just a 1, 2, 3. Graveyard's loaded, and now you have an extra card to show for it, which can be spot removal. It's a machine as well, so if you need it to be as an extender, by all means, it's there for that as well. So 3 Urgent, 3 Toon Table. Toon Table ends up getting sided out a lot, especially games 2 and 3. But again, you could play other hand traps, things that aren't going to get, obviously opening up 2 is quite shitty. Getting hit by Droll sucks as well. So there are downsides to the engine as well, but more times than not, people don't know what the fuck you're doing as soon as you drop the Toon Table. So you're able to, more times than not, get clear with that. If they want to ash it, great. Waste your ash on my Toon Table, so my Urgent Schedule's free to go through, or my Engage. We are radiating some serious little dick energy and playing 3 Mystic Mine. I was playing it at 1 of my last variant, and it worked really, really well with the Sky Striker aspect in this deck. I mean, 3 Mines completely okay. You can drop 1, and then if you draw the other one, just turn it off, throw an extra spell in your graveyard, and turn your own mine off. Afterburner can pop this as well, so you are running an out that's searchable in your deck to get rid of your own mine if you want to go that way with it. But in terms of just being able to lock out your opponent or force a negate, this card's amazing. 2 Revolving Switchyard. We don't want to overload the deck with field spells. I swear I can talk, guys. Today is just not my day. But 2 Revolving Switchyard. I saw in Travis's build he wasn't maining this, which is fine. I still like the idea of 1 being able to initiate your searching out your level 10s, I should say, and then on your opponent's turn being able to get that scapegoat off effect where you say Anger Knuckle out one of your level 10s. To be able to get the special summon from deck effect. Something else too, I almost had this happen in one of my replays where I had Daracrane in my hand and a Sky Striker Link monster. They had gotten rid of it, and I was able to summon Ray out or something like this. But if I had my Ray been able to tag out, because it's a quick effect into Kaina, which is the Earth Machine, and you'll see a lot of the synergy come through in this regard. This is what makes the deck. I mean, there's all sorts of aspects which makes the deck insane, but the fact that Kaina's an Earth Machine, I would have been able to summon her on my opponent's turn, which then would have triggered Daracrane, would have triggered Switchyard to special summon Pegasus from deck, and then Pegasus would have been able to trigger and special summon 1 from graveyard. So there are now different ways. If you don't have Anger Knuckle, the Sky Striker engine allows you to access this on your opponent's turn as well, which is just bonkers. Obviously, the more ways that you can play on your opponent's turn, the better. We're trying to kill them on our turn, but just knowing that you have so many dirty tricks up your sleeve makes this deck super fun. And again, there's so many lines of play that the Sky Striker package adds to this that aren't necessarily available with other variants, that it's definitely worth at least trying out online before you, I guess, commit to everything in person. But or if you just happen to have a Sky Striker core laying around, hey, here you go. 2 Widow Anchor. I'm going to hide that Ultra, but if someone's got a secret or they want to hook me up with, let me know. 2 Widow Anchor. Card's pretty good. I mean, if you wanted to play it at 3 just because of the negation, by all means, but I think 2 is pretty standard, or at least pretty reasonable. Being able to take, so this is fun, being able to take your opponent's monster on their turn and then like tributing it off with Anger Knuckle to get level 10, it's just insane value. Obviously you can link it off, do what have you, but Anger Knuckle being a quick effect, that's just always super nice to take the monster, tribute it off with Anger Knuckle, and then gain a monster out of it as well. So again, super dirty lines of play that this deck gives you that not necessarily other variants would. And then, okay, these are all one-off spells, so this is where it gets super fun, because that's one of my locals was like, you're always opening up like so many crazy one-ups, and it's because I play a ton of crazy one-ups. So 1 Engage, Hornet Drone, and Afterburner, So in terms of the actual Sky Striker spells, you're really only playing those, which is 100% like all you really need. I mean, you can overdo it with more, but like multi-roll I know is really good, but that's dependent on how you really want to play the deck. But this is kind of what I've been finding to work. I don't really want to overdo it. It's more so just an engine to get going, but in terms of utility, super good. One terraforming just to search out what need be, throw a spell engrave, monster reborn. This with Pegasus and like urgent schedule is ridiculous because when you summon off urgent schedule, obviously they're in defense mode and their effects are negated. So being able to link them off and then monster reborning and Pegasus, it's just a free rank 10 depending on how you use it or an extender. Hell, you can even bring back Kagari if you need to and activate her effect when she's summoned off of it. Called by the Grave, again, amazing one of Rhoda, again, just your extra copy of Ray, throws a spell engrave for you. Harvey's Feather Duster, and then one triple tactics. This was at 2 initially, dropped it down to 1. Don't want to like open up 2 and have it be dead per se, but it is reactive. Kind of open for interpretation. This could be something else, but with it being a Sky Striker deck, hey, spell cards are kind of the name of the game. So that's the main. It is 40, and I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 22 spells and 18 monsters. For the main. Let's put that there. Extra deck, so man, alright, don't rip on me for the rarity differences right now, because it's brutal. But we're doing 2 Kagari. She is at 3, I think 2 is pretty okay, especially with Bullet being able to put her back. You never really, I mean, if you use her all 3 times, I could totally see how that's justified. 2's been working out quite well for me. Especially with, like, say, again, Exodius, being able to shuffle everything back at once. So between Bullet and Exodius, I think your resource management's pretty fair. With 2 kind of as well, just because she's the Earth Machine. Again, if I find better ratios the more I'm playing this, I'll definitely kind of reconvene, but for the simplicity of the Sky Striker package, I think this works out quite well. 1 Hayate, and then 1 Shizuku, goddammit, so I need 1, 2, I need 3 more ultis, which that's like $400. If anyone has an extra kind of Kagari and Shizuku ulti, by all means let your boy know. We'll make it happen because this is just an atrocity. But yeah, so we are running 6 cards in terms of the Sky Strikers. Hayate, if you need another one to be able to poke directly, I could understand that. All these I could understand, like, changing the ratios. If you find something that works better, or the more you're playtesting, obviously we're only going to get better with the deck. But as of right now, this is what I've been finding really good success with. But again, this is just new format. As it develops, we'll find out what works most optimally. Coda, there's absolutely no reason for you to be whining. Sorry, we got corgis, sassy corgis. 1 Anger Knuckle, still the big boy of the deck. This card is the shit, does a lot. Don't ever think about not playing this in trains. BLS, great generic Link 3 to be able to tag out into. Again, being able to Widow Anchor and use your opponent's monsters and just having something generic to go into is pretty pristine. You don't make him a ton, but if you need to clear out board space, he's also really good for just having that option to clear out your monsters to go into something of use and make your Sky Striker cards live again. That is it for the links of 4, so 8 links. And 1 Mega Fleet, as we already talked about, for tagging out with Toon Cyber Dragon. This does not, I mean, it does come up enough that it's definitely justified and worth playing. Just the spot removal is insane, and like I said, being able to eat out like 3 or 4 negate Appaloosas, there's nothing freer. In terms of the XYZs, we're playing 2 Gustav, 1 Dora, 1 Sky Palace Gangradai, 1 Leave, and 1 Zeus. All these, especially the ones that you only play 1 of, everything is recyclable through Bullet. People love returning. I mean, if anything gets returned, obviously that only makes it more convenient. I've had 1 instance where having a second Leave would have been incredibly nice, but he banished my Bullet from grave, so it's not like I didn't have my resource management set up, but him banishing Bullet definitely was a swift kick in the deck. If you can find room to make this too, by all means, I wouldn't say no to it, but as of right now, I am trying to play with 1 just so, I mean, again, if you can set up your OTK properly, you should only need 1, and then you can recycle it if you really need be. But again, I wouldn't discourage playing 2 if you could find room for it. This is just where I'm at right now with the deck. But 15 cards, And a token. Side deck, alright, so this is where we're still obviously figuring things out. With the Tune engine, you normally side it out, especially games 2 and 3. It's not seeing too much play. However, in a competitive setting, I could justify or seeing how a Tune Cannon Soldier would be an awesome blowout card, or I mean, as you get lower in time, being able to do the burn damage. Obviously, you have Gustav Max, Kaina, and now Tune Cannon Soldier. Obviously, being able to Gustav for 2,000 in time is insane. Kaina boosts 100 life points whenever you use a Sky Striker card, so you can use her to increase your life points in time. But then also being able to search out a card that just does burn damage in itself. Trains can spam the board pretty quickly, so if you really needed to, like, and you were looking for a way, you could probably, get 3, 4, 5 monsters out, have this dropped, and then just burn, do whatever. But regardless, it's just an idea that I'm tinkering with. If you're able to, put out massive damage, and then you're not able to quite clear. Again, this could be complete shit. This is the one card that I just switched out, and I'm like, I'm actually gonna flirt with the idea. And for what it's worth, too, I would play the Ultra version for the tournament pack, except it's, I think it looks better on the desk, and I'd rather not have something happen to it. But Tune Cannon Soldiers, just kind of quirky idea that I'm gonna toy around with. 2 Cycle Readers, obviously Drytron, anything shitty that's light that you're playing against. Being able to recycle this is pretty sick. With Bullet, if you needed to add it back to hand and just re-hit him with it again, that's quite nasty. Could play Lancias quite easily in replace of these, but I do like the fact that these are actually machines as well. So if you really needed to, you could like slap one down and go for anger. I don't know, like there's just that little bit of utility in that regard. But again, nothing too crazy. 2 more Jizukirus, just because, again, Herald, Ultimateless, Dragoon, there's just so many things that, going second, if you know that you've got more optimal things to side out, Jizukiru is the best kaiju for the deck. So that's all for the monsters. 1 red reboot still, and Skill Drain. I will always play Skill Drain in trains if I can. Red reboot is more so for your Tri-Brigades, Revolt's an insane card, any back row heavy deck, but still going second. Red reboot is just, hey, there's no reason not to play the 1-up. If you see it, you're probably going to win. Skill Drain, again, if you know that you're going first, Choo-Choo's Go Burr. It's just the best. It's the trap card that was made for trains. 2 Lightning Storm and 3 Cosmic for back row removal. I don't know really what else to say about this. Lightning Storms I removed from the main. Could, again, if Lightning Storm wouldn't be bad in the main by any stretch of the imagination either. I mean, it is just a going second blind deck, so I mean, you could take out, like a field spell and say, oh man, I don't even know, like the triple tactics. There are options for it. Moving forward, if I find that Lightning Storm in the main is working better, I'll definitely see if that works. But as of right now, I do like it if I know that I'm going second as a guaranteed. Cosmic, still just best spot roll, 1-for-1 spot removal in my opinion. And then still 3 Heat Wave. Just because this is a spell going first, I know that it essentially buys you a full turn, which is all trains need to draw that extra piece to OTK. But I do like the idea. It's essentially just like a lose 1 turn. It sets the duel back, so if you know that you're going first or that you want to go first, it definitely adds like a good option for drawing just a blowout card that most people aren't going to be able to respond to. 8, 9, 10, yep, so that's 15. So as the deck sits, I mean, it's 40, 15, 15, nothing too crazy. I'm trying to keep it as small and concise and consistent as possible. But as of right now, there's Sky Striker Trains. That is the variant I have built on it. Let me see where the video's at. I might do like a test hand or two. 19, yeah, fuck it. We'll do it. We'll run through it. So now that I'm going to commit to a test hand without pausing, I'm sure that's just going to be absolute shit. But hey, it's alright, we'll see. The main premise behind the deck, or the mindset that I have, and obviously every hand's different. So, oh dear, we're not listening to that advertisement, no way. It's to break the board with the Sky Striker cards, and then never reveal the train cards until you can start dropping them. Obviously, if you need to get your play started, do what you gotta do, but it's more so to get them to commit to stopping as much of the Sky Striker stuff, or beating their board as much down as possible with the Sky Striker cards, and then just using the train cards to come on, clean it up, no TK. The DB Grinder, I follow his channel, watch it pretty consistently, and he was featuring Sky Strikers a lot as of lately, and one of the things that he said that really stuck out to me was, with Sky Strikers, the main thing you never have to worry about is getting OTK'd. And I was like, well, good. I hope people keep that mindset. I hope he keeps telling people about that, because, I mean, when people see Sky Strikers, they might not play into it as heavily, or like, oh, okay, I might have a turn or two, but I want to take that from them. I want them to be like, oh shit, I gotta play against Sky Strikers and an engine that can OTK. So, well, okay, as long as we don't draw more tombs. It's a pretty intense hand. So going second, no hand traps, but all right, well, when it happens, it happens. So this is absolutely batshit crazy, and here's why. Couldn't have been like a better 6 card. That's awesome. So going second, you're gonna tune table into tune table. Oh dear, and we already opened up the Hornet drones. That's crazy. And the tune table. Great. So now all your Sky Striker cards are live, and you have spot removal, depending on what their board looks like. You can start blowing up monsters. Great. Oh, monster in the back row. I don't know. This is all just hypothetical at this point. We're going to engage. And we opened up a lot of Sky Striker cards, so God knows how many more we're going to get. Widow Anchor. And I really hope we don't drop anything Sky Striker related. Like a revolving switchyard would be cool, or urgent schedule. And draw an extra. That works too. And then we would Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones. And Hornet Drones is also a 1-card anchor drill. I can show you that as well for anyone that doesn't know. I'll do it after this. Hornet Drone specials. And then you can go into Kinda with the token, Kinda effect. Get engage. Activate engage. And engage says 1 Sky Striker card, so it can add Ray if we get rid of all of our other targets, which I think we have gone through. And that's another thing with the ratios with the Sky Striker cards. I want to make sure that my engage is always live so I can search it and get the pluses off of it. But you don't want to just have your deck crammed with too many Sky Striker cards to where you're hitting the synergy between the 2 archetypes. I don't know. I like to think of it as a small engine rather than like the backbone of the deck, but it definitely makes it go, go, go. And then draw. Well, what are we going to do with that? Who knows? Obviously, this is just using your imagination, but depending on what their board looks like, I mean, you can now start Widow anchoring away. So we could go into Anger Knuckle, and we technically do have an OTK here, oddly enough. So yes, depending on what they have, you can stop or turn shit off, negate, take monsters. And we do have a Called by the Grave, just for more interruptions. So in order to do this, if you really wanted to go for the OTK, you have to go Hayate. We have not normal summons. You also have 7 cards in your hand right now, and you've gone through quite a bit of resources. You can already see where engage gets really done with this deck. Normal summon, link her off into. I mean, you can do Shizuku or Kaina at this point. Kaina would trigger your Dark Rain. And then I would link 2. You can use. Now again, by putting anything down here, you're turning off your Sky Striker card. So that's where I'm talking about using like your intuition and like the skill ceiling comes in. You have to know, you can't get excited and start dropping trains. You have to think about what you have, what you need to do to your opponent's board before you turn off anything. Anger Knuckle. Again, if your opponent had something in extra monster zone, you'd be able to drop this and tag it out, make Mega Fleet, but again, that turns off these cards unless you put the Mega Fleet up here. So the more you play out the deck, you'll learn the little things like that. But again, the more skilled you become with it, the easier it is to think about things like that, and you start playing through them pretty intelligently. We already used Derek Queen. Hold on, we'd have to use this differently, because it would have to... Maybe we don't get to OTK here, because this would pitch but we've already used his effect. Shit. I'm trying to think of how I'd be able to get one engrave to be able to. There is no way to. Never mind. I lied. There's no OTK here. There's no OTK here unless you're able to get out the Toon Cyber Dragon prior. Shit. Well, I fucked up. That's okay. You get the principle here. So now you just have a whack-ass board with no OTK. So that would be considered the worst thing possible. Because we normal summon, I was gonna say you'd be able to tribute summon these two, but we use that for Ray. Yeah, Bullet would be crazy here, but we don't have Bullet. I'll make sure before I scoop this up. Well, that was a great showcasing of what the deck could do, potentially, if you didn't play into it like an idiot. It's fine. Let me show you how Hornet Drones is a one-card Anger Knuckle real quick. Sorry, that was quite silly. So Hornet Drones gives you a token. Token turns into Kagari. Kagari can add back Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones summons another token. Turn Kagari into Hayate, turn token into Kaina or Shizuku, and put those two together, and huzzah. One card Anger Knuckle. Obviously, that is, you're going through 3 of these to get to one Anger Knuckle, but Hornet Jones is technically a 1-card Anger Knuckle in that regard, which is super nice. I'm gonna do one more test hand just to see where we're at with it. I kind of opened up the nuts there. I just didn't have the full. Man, I thought I was gonna be able to make a ring 10, but I could not. Obviously, you're never gonna open up Engage with Toon Table every time. That's kind of like the bread and butter. But it's more so it was just gonna kind of showcase what it could happen. I don't even know. Obviously, I don't know what this next hand's gonna look like, so we'll just play it out. That's kind of the fun part. But I do thoroughly enjoy this deck. I think most people would as well. It's a new breath of life into trains. A lot of people haven't gotten to play it yet, so the fact that Engage is back at 1, super fun. Well, they're not drawing any cards. So they're going to get drolled after they activate Meltdown at Alistair, and they're going to feel stupid, but they're going to have Invocation, so they... Well, this is the worst. This is just the absolute worst. You're going to be able to tune... And again, that's like the one downside. Now, if you were playing the Cannon Soldier, you'd be able to resolve all of them because you could search both monsters. But that's just trying to play more poorly into a poor play. From there, here, everywhere, God, I don't know. Maybe they have an extra monster zone. That'd be sick. So you'd be able to, you know, Patana, possibly Kaiju something. And, I mean, you could Urgent. That'd be the word. I mean, maybe Toon Cyber, hope that they have 2 monsters on their field. And then I would say Urgent. And if you can tag out, again, like a Appaloosa would be amazing. If anyone at your locals is playing Tri-Brigade, you should have a great matchup against them. But there, I guess there's your rank 10. You've got dead cards now. Again, just to highlight, Toon Engine is probably my favorite part about the deck because it makes everything an automatic green light in terms of the Sky Striker cards. Not a lot of people understand what they're playing because it goes tunes to Sky Strikers, then to trains. So the progression of the deck is absolutely hilarious. Like, you know, some decks, the first card that they play, you're just able to know exactly where the deck's going. This deck starts off one way and then completely ends another, which is, I don't know, to me that's just not a lot of decks do that conceptually, and that's what makes this incredibly fun. You can hit people with the Sky Striker aspect of cards, and then there's the train aspects that they have to worry about as well. So they don't know if they should be setting up for a grind game or an OTK, and it definitely keeps people on their toes. Obviously, I'm happy to get all feedback. I want to make this deck as potent as possible, and obviously any help that you guys give makes that road and journey a little bit easier. So thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. Hopefully this was a little bit of decent insight into the deck and what we can make it do this format. Again, this is the very, very rough build that we're working with right now, but it has been working pretty cleanly. So I'm very much so hearing forward to what you guys have to say. Thank you, and I'll catch you guys next time.